Previously on Danganronpa.
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm sorry. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath.
You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else? The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something. I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time. Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully.
This girl is
Is what?
a boy!
I see. So she was actually a he. Chihiro was a guy?
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat.
After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
And now, the exciting conclusion of the class trial. The killer was able to gain access to the real murder scene, which means the killer is a guy. That's the one. Since the crime scene was the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. But that's still not enough. I need to find some more clues. Alright.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer! And only the killer!
No, it's wrong! I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Well,
Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this.
Makoto!
The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
My thoughts exactly.
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
Track jacket in a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
Weird, huh?
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I'd better get going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Yep. But someone knew.
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much.
So he trusted someone with his secret,
Enough
and they killed
so that
him.
He was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
You think it's...
Whoa, what a marvelous friendship!
You think maybe it's some kind of
point is,
transphobic
whoever
thing?
he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
Maybe, maybe not.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously?
Do we really, though?
Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I don't think that really points it out.
We can figure out who did it based on two pieces of evidence that we don't have.
Well, there's a picture of it right here. You saw them.
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say. But fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Does Chihiro's jacket really hold some clue about the killer? Maybe. Somehow it's really hard to believe. Same truth bullet as last time.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
No, that's wrong! Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
Oopsie.
What are you? You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Oopsie!
I just... I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Jerry with it before he died! That's the only possibility!
Jerry?
Are you talking about Chihiro? So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night.
Maybe he just ran into him in the hall,
He
you know,
walked
on the
past
way.
me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
Well, a duffel bag, but
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony,
She stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone.
when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
okay, here we go.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit.
Exactly, because she knew that there wasn't any real evidence pointing towards who exactly the culprit was. So the only way, because again, Kyoko's very smart, she may actually be the smartest person in this entire room. She knew that the only way to get the culprit to reveal who they were was to trick them into doing so by confusing them with her wording and causing a slip of the tongue, like Celeste said. It wasn't guaranteed to work, though. There's still amount of luck involved, you know, because there's always the chance the killer is smart enough to see that, through that, and, you know, not slip. But in this case, they did. Yeah, it's Mondo. Can you believe that?
That's why you said you knew who did it, to put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
Now that I wonder about.
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question. There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently.
Oh, I noticed it.
You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick.
I pointed it out,
And after
actually,
he was
didn't I?
killed, you happened to refer to him as dude.
Yup.
Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
I pointed that out to you guys when we were investigating, didn't I?
You noticed such a tiny detail?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
That's the most important clue in the
No,
entire thing.
I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah, he would never do something like that. This is a false accusation.
Of course, you're gonna defend
My
him.
reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
You're bros now.
That was fast.
After a hot night in the
This
sauna.
does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come.
What?
That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you'd found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, you know, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
But it might be. Just out with
Does your
it.
confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine. fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then...
We do.
Here it is.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
You found it on the ground, right? Then it must belong to
I got it!
Chihiro.
We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
By hitting its weak point, which isn't really an answer, but
I got it!
we don't know the
You already
specifics.
told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick succession, then
we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
You're asking me?
Might as well be
I
out
think
with
it's
it.
a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
Exactly.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already. Why would we want to break our own handbook?
Exactly, we need them.
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
You mean like the sauna?
I knew it! You knew it? Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna. The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange.
And
how
who
you
hung
don't
out
get
in the
burned,
sauna?
huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
What? We learned a lot of new facts.
A mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why.
Hey Mondo, show us your handbook.
And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
Is it broken, or...?
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna,
He was wearing his clothes, remember?
I might know someone who did.
Exactly.
Whoa! Seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
Yep. Who might have brought their handbook into the sauna? It had to be the one who wore all their clothes. If you remember back to that night when they were having that competition, he was in just a towel, but he wore clothes.
Here's my answer. Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
And you thought that was just a throwaway scene.
What?
Turns out it was super important.
Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember?
Bum 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 ba bum ba bum 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 bum
And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
It's there, man. Come on. I mean, I don't want to believe it either, but I found something that proves it's beyond a shadow of a doubt. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting more bullets. All right, now it's getting hard. Oh, here we go.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
Fuck.
See? Makoto was wrong. Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly.
Bapa do kada kada do. Got to shoot things about boom.
In other words, if Mondo's hand, then that proves that what Makoto said.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
No, it's wrong.
Got it. Whew, that was a rough one.
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
It means what it means, bitch. Answer the question.
The handbook that was in the main hall. Isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
Yep, exactly.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's.
The old switcheroo.
That
Twice.
The handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's. Yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student.
That's fucked up.
It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting. As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
Son of a bitch. What's wrong, bro? Come on, tell him he's wrong.
Well,
you are wrong. You
see.
have to be wrong. Everything you just said is wrong. You made it all up.
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning?
Time for the recap.
That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
I'm so glad that they do this because it means I don't have to. Because normally I'd be the one to recap. the shit for you, but because they do this, I don't have to. Anyways, though, I am going to go ahead and, like, fast forward through this, though. I'm actually just gonna skip straight to the end of it. You already know how this part works, so I'm not gonna make you sit through this every time. It's very long and boring. So we'll just skip straight to the end, where Makoto says what happened. Alright, see you there.
The killer is you! First, let's take a look back to before the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room? Simple, because she was really a he, which is why he was able to use his own handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there, and the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came from. It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned. Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet. Then, removing the bloody poster. And finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course. But this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks had been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch. That could have been the end of things, but no. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated.
Just for the lulls.
So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library.
What a
and
sociopath.
Then he got to work. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter. And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook. And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out. Isn't that right, Mondo Owada?
What a complicated twist.
No, this can't be right. Where's your evidence? Yeah, where's your evidence? You need evidence. You need proof. Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him.
Evidence that Mondo is the killer, that already revealed itself earlier in the trial. If I can somehow show where Mondo's handbook is right now, once I do that, everything will become clear. What's the new element? I forget. Fever time. Okay, fever time in the temple before. Okay, yada yada. You press the button. Okay. Okay. Never mind, I remember now. Alright, let's go. Alright, the bullet time battle is against
Show me some
him
evidence.
this time.
You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False. Show me some evidence.
Beep, ba, boo, ba, beep, ba,
I won't
boo,
listen.
ba,
False.
beep, ba, boo, ba, da, 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 da,
I refuse to vote. Show me some evidence. You're wrong. I won't listen. I refute you. False. Show me some evidence.
Final strike, here we go.
Show me some evidence.
This should prove it. If my thinking so far is right, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook with Leon's.
We covered that already, though.
In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now.
That's right, show us your handbook, fancy man.
Once we do that, we'll...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah, I did it. I killed him.
He's admitting it. He admits it. He literally just admitted to the murder, which kind of like, you know, that gives it to us. There you go. Isn't that some crazy shit, though? Look at all these plot twists in one thing. First, we find out that Toko is actually Genocide Jack, or Genocide Jill. And then we find out Chihiro is actually a boy. And, Byakuya messed with the crime scene in order to out Toko, in order to make things more interesting. And then, on top of all that, it turned out to be Mondo. And the only way we could have possibly known is because he slipped up twice. Once by calling Chihiro a dude, and once by mentioning the color of the tracksuit. It's crazy. Remember how I said these get a lot more complicated? This is what I was talking about. And, of course, you still ain't seen shit yet.
Bro, what are you saying?
I got no choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... give up. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get it over with. Ask for the goddamn verdict.
Bit anticlimactic.
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting! No holding on! Time for the moment we've all been waiting for! Grab your lever and give it a yank!
Giggity!
Who will you elect as the Blackened this time around? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
He's happy either way. Majority rules.
What?
Uh-oh! This time it looks like you got it right again! Yes, it is so. The blackened that killed Chihiro Fujisaki was... Mondo Owada!
Unbelievable.
In case you're wondering, the vote was not unanimous. Kiyotaka chose the wrong answer. You're treading very close to the danger zone, Mr. Ishimaru. You need to be more careful.
I refuse to believe it. There's no way. No way he would kill someone.
Sorry.
Sorry.
What is this?
Why are you apologizing? Why? Why? Why did you do it?
Now then.
Well, it looks like Mondo's taken a vow of silence, so allow me to explain on his behalf.
By the way, in the anime version of this, they point out that Taka actually voted for himself, which Monokuma calls, and I quote, noble but stupid.
Actually...
The story of the murder, this time, is the sad story of two men. Oh, but for anyone who doesn't really want to hear it, you can just hit the circle button to fast forward the text.
He's breaking the fourth wall again.
Alright. Anyway, there once was a young boy, and his name was Chihiro Fujisaki. He had an extreme inferiority complex regarding his own lack of strength. You're so weak, even though you're a boy. He'd heard things like that as long as he could remember, and he couldn't overcome his weakness. On the contrary, he tried to hide and buried himself further and further into that weakness, to take on the fragile form of a petite young girl. He had chosen that as his way out. Now nobody will be able to say anything about even though you're a boy. But no matter how tightly he wrapped himself up in that shell, the inferiority complex had already taken root deep inside of him, and it was not so easily weeded out. As it turned out, the shell was completely empty. The complex didn't disappear. Instead, it only grew stronger and stronger. I'm weak.
Weak.
Once the killing game had begun here at the school, he had no choice but to accept this fact. After all, this world is survival of the fittest. If you're not strong, you don't survive. And then the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of the embarrassing secrets. Which, of course, included Chihiro's embarrassing secret, which I was more than willing to divulge. Even though he dresses like a girl, Chihiro is actually a boy.
Hey,
And that was something Chihiro couldn't let anyone find out, no matter the cost. If that was revealed, it would be the end. The hardened shell would crack, the armor would fall away. Without a doubt, those around him would torture him more than ever before. Everyone figured being thrust into such a dilemma must have sent him spiraling into despair.
What?
And yet...
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I don't really want to talk about it right now.
But
I also don't want to leave things the way they are, so maybe I can talk about it later. After I try my best to become strong, then I can tell everyone. Annoyingly, he used the thread of discovery to motivate himself to become stronger.
That's right.
Now's my chance.
I want to change.
I'm going to get stronger and accept who I am.
God, this backstory actually makes his death a lot sadder.
Strong enough so that when someone says, even though you're a boy, I'll be okay, I'll get better. With that thought at the front of his mind, he resolved to take immediate action. And so... that day, he made the commitment to begin exercising. He was prepared to retrain his mind and body. But sadly, That would be the first and only chance he would get at it.
Hey,
When he decided to start exercising, he thought it would be good to ask for someone's help. But he wanted to tell that person his secret first, and then ask them to help him from there. And the person he went to...
Yeah, that's right.
It was me.
Yep, it sure was. The biker gang fella had been painfully clear about how important his manly promises were. So Chihiro probably figured that even if he confided in Mondo, his honor would make him keep the secret. Plus, Mr. Macho Mondo was the very symbol of a strong man that Chihiro has always aspired to. Maybe talking to Mondo about it will help give me some courage. So he went and asked Mondo to help him become strong.
I think that's supposed to be Monokuma's line, but they fucked up which character said it.
That was his aspiration. And he thought that only with Mondo's support would he ever be able to come close to that.
Correct.
So then, that must be why Mondo did what he did. To keep the promise he'd made to Chihiro.
Huh? Did what he did? You mean, that's why Mondo carried Chihiro from the boys' locker room into the girls' locker room?
Indeed.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
So it wasn't to cover up the murder. Well, it was probably that a little bit too.
Wasn't that to cover up what he'd done?
Certainly.
That could have been part of it, but I don't think it was the main reason. The real purpose was to keep the promise between men he'd made to Chihiro. But how does moving the body keep his secret? Because if everyone knew he'd been killed in the boys' locker room, then everyone would have been arguing about how she got into the boys' locker room, right? Once that started up, at least a few of us would have immediately begun to suspect his identity. So he tried to protect Chihiro's secret by putting him in the girls' locker room and stealing his handbook. See?
Then Mondo did all that to keep the promise he'd made to Chihiro, who'd he'd also killed? Why? Why would he do that? The more I hear you talk, the more I don't understand. I mean, you guys trusted each other, right? So why? Why did you... Because no matter what, I didn't want anyone to know.
I knew it.
So that's what triggered it, after all. The possibility of having your embarrassing memories and secrets exposed.
What is this?
That's impossible! Nothing could have been that bad! Something he didn't want anyone to know, even if it meant killing someone?
You're wrong!
It's impossible!
Don't make me repeat myself.
How many times must I repeat myself? To judge others by your own standard is the height of folly. Even if you can't comprehend it, he obviously can. That's all there is to it.
Well, we're on the subject, why don't I tell you? That embarrassing memory, that secret he didn't want anyone to know.
Hey,
You know what Mondo did? He killed his own brother. Mondo, the ultimate biker gang leader, makes all the hoodlums and riffraff across the country tremble. But the only reason he had the chance to join a gang in the first place was because of a certain someone. Mondo's older brother's name was Daya Owada. Mondo had nothing but respect for him. It was because of Daya that Mondo ever got on a motorcycle. Mondo's brother was his only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo could trust or respect. He wanted to measure up to his big brother, so he imitated him in everything he did. Mondo was the epitome of the starry-eyed kid brother. Meanwhile, the charismatic older brother had put together a local motorcycle gang. And before anyone knew it, it had grown into the biggest biker gang in the country. Daya, the older brother, number one in the gang, and his number two, his younger brother, Mondo. In the beginning, everything was peaches and gravy. Yum. But when Mondo started to think about how he would have to take over the gang from his brother someday, his brother's greatness, his reputation, began to gnaw on Mondo's very soul. The kid's gonna take over for Daya, huh? Daya created this gang with his bare hands. Mondo's just along for the ride. Can someone like that really be our leader? All that'll do is make the gang look bad. Almost every day, Mondo heard the gossip and whispers of the other members of the gang. Which is why...
I
gotta get stronger. Stronger than Daya. Once. Just one time. No matter what, I gotta win.
Don't fuck with me.
I don't care what it takes. I gotta come out on top.
And on the night of his amazing brother's retirement ceremony, Mondo challenged him to a street race. But during the race, tragedy struck. The kid brother pushed ahead with reckless abandon, eager for victory, and dashed into oncoming traffic. But suddenly... laying in his kid brother's arms, the older brother delivered his final words.
My bad, kid. I fucked up. Sorry.
Of course, he knew it was his brother's fault, but Daya never blamed him for what happened.
Hey, kid. The rest is up to you. No matter what, you gotta keep the gang together. 'Cause it's the team, you and me put together. It's a promise between men.
He decided to hide the truth of what happened from everyone else in the gang. In order to keep the gang together and keep the promise to his brother, he could never admit to anyone that it was his own weakness that had caused the accident. And as a result, the team was made even stronger under the banner of the kid who's bested his big brother. Daya was gonna lose to his kid brother, so he got stupid and got himself killed. That became the explanation for what happened. Mondo's lie became the truth. He wanted to lead the team so bad, he was willing to tell all kinds of lies about his brother.
I'm strong. Strong.
And yet, as soon as our killing game began, he realized, no matter how tough he pretended to be, he was just another weakling that could die in an instant. And then the lovely, the hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of the embarrassing secrets. At that point, it was clear I would have no problem shedding light on his secret. Mondo killed his own older brother.
Well, his brother knocked him out of the way of getting hit by a truck and then he died, but yeah, it was Mondo's fault. No matter what, I couldn't let the other gang members find out. If that happened, everything would have been ruined. Everything me and my brother had worked to create would have been destroyed. His death, all the guilt I'd been carrying around, it all would have been for nothing. So that's why... Mondo... After I saw what Monokuma had on me, my head filled up with a kind of fuzzy uneasiness, and I just started swirling around. I'd never felt anything like it before. I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't sure what to think or say, but after a while, that fuzzy uneasiness turned itself into a rock-hard lump of anxiety, way down in my stomach. And it was right around then that Chihiro asked me to start working out with him. And right there, he told me a secret. Seriously? Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry I lied to you.
But why? Why now? Why are you telling me this all of a sudden? Huh? Because, I mean, you've kept that secret all this time, right? If anyone found out, you would...
But
You're right, but
I want to change.
I wrap myself in lies. I'm weak. I want to destroy that version of me forever.
His words were like a knife in my gut. I felt like he was exposing the lie I'd been living myself.
I have to change. I don't want to be weak anymore. You're so strong. It can't hurt you, right? Whatever secret Monokuma might tell us.
You piece of...
So, what? You're saying I should just say it?
What?
You're saying if I really am, I should just be able to tell everyone my secret?
Huh?
I was jealous. I was jealous of Chihiro's strength. He had the strength to face his own weakness, to try and overcome it. It was the kind of strength I'd never had. So I was jealous of him. And that jealousy broke me.
What?
Are you making fun of me? I'm strong. Are you fucking with me right now?
No!
I'm not making fun of you. You really are strong, Mondo.
I felt like I could hear something starting to creak. Something inside my head. What did he want me to do? What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to just sit back and let my secret get revealed and ruin everything?
What's wrong?
Damn
Why did you have to tell me all that? Are you trying to rub my failure in my face?
I
No,
just wanted to...
I just really admire you. I admire your strength.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I am strong. Strong. I'm strong. Strong. Stronger than you!
You son of a bitch!
And stronger than Daya! I don't remember anything after that. When I woke up again, he was laying at my feet, covered in blood. I had the dumbbell in my hand, and I was just staring at him down on the ground. Hey! So he blacked out. It was an accident. He didn't actually intend to kill Chihiro. He had a rage-induced blackout because of the guilt and jealousy that he felt. He couldn't stand the fact that this young kid was stronger than him. Facing their fears and shit, and it broke him.
I killed him.
In this case, it's technically homicide.
I killed Chihiro. Even after all this time, I'm still just as weak as I've always been. And thanks to that, I did something I can never take back.
Mondo. He was normally so aggressive, so angry. He hid that weak side away from everyone. That was his secret. A weakness like that lived in a heart like his, and it turned him cold-blooded. God damn it.
Look at him! You see? You're all just like him. For a secret from the past, for a memory. For that, he killed another living human in cold blood. He couldn't cut free of his regrets from the outside world. He doesn't know what true strength is. Do you see hope anywhere in there? 'Cause I sure don't.
You bastard! Just shut up, you son of a bitch! Go ahead, say that again, I dare you!
Yep.
Okay, I'll say it as many times as I want. Is what I want to say, but... Unfortunately, I can't do that right now, because it's time for the punishing. Because the time for punishing is fast approaching.
Punishing?
It can't be.
You mean execution? Well, you all knew this was coming and you voted for him, so...
Well now.
That's what I promised you, right? The blackened that disturbs the peace will be punished.
Ridiculous.
Hold on!
Now then, I prepared a very special punishment.
For Mondo Uwata, the ultimate biker gang leader.
No, wait!
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
I said wait!
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurt me right in the soul. Oh my god. These are unfortunate. These people, most of them never would kill people on purpose. At least in these two cases so far, these have both been in accidents. Victims of circumstance. Leon was defending himself from someone trying to kill him, and Mondo had a rage-induced blackout. Alright, well this is interesting. Of course you knew a... Oh look! It's one of those circus biker cage things where they go around and around and around. So... You're probably wondering how this is gonna work. It's not as violent as last time, I can tell you that much. This one's a bit goofy, actually. Okay, so this is pretty normal, but... now the cage is electrified. So he went so fast, and the cage was electrified, so basically he just got vaporized, is what happened. He just got turned in... well, watch this. That's right! He turned him into butter! And he put it on his fucking pancakes! This is some... If Bugs Bunny was a sociopath type shit... Well, Bugs Bunny kind of was a sociopath, but you know what I mean.
Laugh at death and your soul will forever be at peace.
Yeah, he's saying that directly to us, to the audience, because that was a little bit of dark humor. He turned that man into butter and put him on his pancakes. That's so fucked up. What is that shit? Oh my god, that's dark humor. That's what that is. This game is dark humor. It can't be! My brother turned to butter! Another murder and another execution. I want to feel again. Everyone's lives are taken so lightly here. I feel like I might be going mad. Maybe I'll just let it happen. That just does show you how how evil of a villain Monokuma is, though. He cares so little about human life that he thinks it's funny to turn them into butter. Like... God, I feel bad for this guy. As Taka's sad screams invaded our skulls, we were each forced to realize once again. But of course he had to. What a disappointment. This is the end of the game? But Byakuya?
What is this?
You're completely insane, you know that? A game? One of our friends is dead. Do you realize that?
Naturally.
Of course I do. Because this game is life or death.
Hey.
I don't have anything to say to you. I don't have a response except that...
However...
I just don't understand why. Why did you go out of your way to disguise Mondo's crime?
What?
Why? Isn't it obvious? Because it made things more interesting. His voice was calm, emotionless, like the voice of death. It chilled me to the bone. Last night, when the murder took place, I was in the library as usual.
Honestly.
So you ignored the nighttime rule too?
That rule never mattered to me. I don't recall agreeing to it.
There is nothing to be done.
Well, I don't particularly care. Please continue.
The night grew late, and I decided to return to my room, which is when I stumbled upon him. I spotted Mondo coming out of the girls' locker room. After he'd gone, I looked inside and saw the corpse. What? You mean you actually witnessed the murder? He was such a fool. He didn't have the slightest idea that I'd seen him.
Well...
So, you're saying you knew who the culprit was from the very beginning?
That's right.
Indeed. But if that had been at the end of it, how boring would that have been? I mean, what a waste of time to have the answer revealed right at the beginning. Which is why I decided to lend a little helping hand. I thought it would liven things up. You did all that to liven things up?
I see.
So, after hearing about Genocide Jack from Toko, you decided to use that to create the fake murder scene? But damn, man, if we hadn't figured out who'd really done it, you would have been dead too, right? Well, obviously I would have revealed the truth before it reached that point. Of course. Byakuya turned and looked me in the eye. I could feel his sharp eyes piercing into me. Thanks to a certain remarkable someone, it never did, and I was able to perform an interesting experiment. Once I do decide to become blackened, now I know who I'll have to watch out for. What?
Correct.
So that was your reason. Are you satisfied?
Indeed.
Yes, we're done listening to your story. Moving on.
Hey.
There's something I'd like to ask Monokuma.
What's this?
Oh, I'm up next?
You like to perform these elaborate executions each time, correct? My question is, why?
Do you like them? They're the main reason people play these games, you know. But you know, this punishment, this despair, it's not just for you. All this punishment, all this despair is my gift to mankind itself.
What?
You're over-exaggerating.
I am not over-exaggerating. These punishments are meant to transform all hope to despair.
Damn.
What do you mean?
Mean? Mean? Mean?
What the heck?
Mean. Good grief! I don't understand why you have to pick apart every little stupid thing.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. In the end, I'm going to stand alone as the victor, and then everything will be revealed to me.
The noble son of a noble family. Truly, you understand me. I think this is the start of a terrifying friendship.
That's enough. Shut up. I would never stoop to the level of a childish criminal like you. Let me just say this. After I have achieved complete victory, you're up next. I'm going to find you and kill you, understand?
In the name of my family.
In the name of the Togami family, for which victory is a foregone conclusion.
You're getting all right.
Oh, so cool. It's like you're the main character of a video game or something. No trash mob for you.
I swear, whatever it takes, I will kill you.
Temper. Sounds like someone needs a nap.
Monokuma's laughter peeled across the courtroom and the curtain closed on the case of Chihiro and Mondo. But I knew that wasn't the end. The killing game would still continue, because the mastermind wouldn't let it end. For those of us who were still alive, our worst fear and despair kept on multiplying. It was the kind of despair that felt like a blind puppy in hell had more of a future than us. All of our courage, our effort, our friendship, it felt like it amounted to nothing at all. It was the worst kind of despair.
Well, anyway, like I was saying, this is a pretty good spot. Yeah, a really good spot.
Now who is Monokuma talking to?
Anyway, isn't it amazing how that girl went and killed someone before things even had a chance to get boring? Once things really get moving, it'll be like a roller coaster. There won't be any stopping it. Fear and despair charge forward at a speed nothing can hope to match. But I must admit, I'm disappointed. I went to all the pain and effort of making you part of the group, and you couldn't play your part. You do remember you were supposed to make the first move, right? Well, no biggie. Nothing we can do about it now, so just do your best to make things more exciting from now on, okay? After all, that's what everyone wants to see.
Okay, so I know who this is. It's a mole. There's a mole in our group that's actually working with Monokuma, sort of. But I'm not gonna do their voice because then that'll give away who it is. So I'm just gonna do like one of those like anonymous voice filter voices. Okay.
There's one thing I'd like to ask you.
As long as you don't want to know my measurements, fire away.
Who is it? The 16th high school student, I mean.
Ooh. My, you really took me by surprise there. I know I said you could ask anything, but... Super denied, ultra denied, demonic denied! Because you see, that's my ace in the hole. And nobody'd be dumb enough to reveal that, right? No matter how close they were to their friends.
Oh boy, what a stinger, huh? And that's the end of chapter 2. That was actually a shorter chapter than the first one, when you think about it. Although it did take a while for things to get going, but like Monokuma said, now that they're going, they're going. Only 10 survivors left. I'm surprised that jacket survived. Okay, so, this is obviously going to be the end of this episode. This is obviously going to be the end of this episode. But, holy hell, what a stinger at the end there. So obviously, we already covered all the shit that we learned in the trial, which was a lot. There was a lot to process. Like, there was like, what, three or four different plot twists in that trial? But then, at the very end of it all, we get this little stinger, a little bit of pushing the main story forward, where we see that Monokuma that one of the students is actually working with Monokuma. And not only that, but our theory about there being a 16th secret student is correct. So not only is someone working with Monokuma, who's part of our group now, but there's also a 16th student that we don't even know about. So who are they? Where are they? And what is Monokuma's real plan here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and click that like button. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you possibly on another day, definitely another time, and likely in another video. Oh, and don't forget to let me know who you want to see me spend free time with in the next few episodes. Alright? Okay, goodbye!